When I was 18 years old, I fell in love with my best friend. And when I say fell in love, I mean like my entire world shifted on its axis and I couldn't stop thinking about him. Like if he was an eclipse, he would be that supermassive black hole that just swallows all of the light around it. He literally did make my world stop spinning for a few months. I think I knew I was in love with him for at least a month before I actually let myself admit it to myself because I was trying to get over someone else. But once I let myself acknowledge that I was in love with him, I was so head over heels. We have been best friends since we were 12. So there was this foundation of friendship that was rock solid and incredibly comfortable. And then once I realized I was in love with him, everything got a lot more charged between us. Like even sitting next to each other, my heart would start racing. I couldn't help but constantly steal glances at him. Like I was really bad at hiding the fact that I was in love with him. At the time, he was my person. I trusted him with everything and I told him pretty much every secret I had ever had. I could talk to him for hours and never run out of things to say. And to this day, he is still one of my favorite people to talk to because he is just such a good listener, and he has always got something thoughtful to say. But what made me fall in love with him was his kindness, how gentle he is, and his big heart. He's one of the most caring people I know. And I've watched him treat others with nothing but kindness and respect. He treats everyone with such warmth and compassion that it just drew me in and made me want to be closer to him. Also, he has this really infectious laugh that can instantly make me feel happy. And he has the kindest eyes. They're just so warm and inviting, and they just seem to see right through me. And it made me feel seen in a way that I'd never felt before. So after I had realized that I was in love with him, I spent several weeks trying to work out my feelings and trying to figure out whether or not I should tell him. A part of me wanted to confess my love to him because I was terrified of losing him. And another part of me didn't want to jeopardize our friendship. It was only after about 2 months of going back and forth in my head that I decided I needed to tell him how I felt. I remember that day vividly. It was a Saturday and I had begged him to come spend the day with me because I knew that it's the only time we had before we went back to school. So I remember sitting in my bed with him while we were eating takeout, and I finally worked up the courage to tell him how I felt. I was shaking as I confessed my undying love for him, but I poured my heart out to him, and I told him everything I had been feeling. And the way that he responded broke my heart into a million pieces. After I had told him, the room was silent for a moment. And when he finally spoke, his voice was flat and emotionless. He said that he didn't feel the same way about me and that he didn't want to jeopardize what we had. That he didn't want to lose me as his best friend. And he was so matter-of-fact about it, which made it even more hurtful. He also mentioned that I might be better off with someone else who could give me the love I deserved. After he told me that he didn't love me the way I loved him, I felt crushed. My entire world came crashing down around me. All of those weeks of trying to sort out my feelings and all of the hope that I had nurtured, it just vanished in an instant. I felt devastated and heartbroken. To make matters worse, he started spending less time with me after that conversation. I know he probably felt awkward after our conversation, but it hurt like hell. Because we used to hang out every single day, multiple times a week. And then suddenly he was ghosting me. And I thought that maybe if I gave him some space, that he would come back around. But that never happened. And eventually I realized that he wasn't coming back. It took me months to get over him. I tried to keep myself busy, but every time I tried to move on, he would pop back into my thoughts. It was torture having to see him around school and having to pretend that everything was okay when inside I was dying. I had to transfer schools to try to put some distance between us. The weirdest part was that I knew that he liked me. Like he would flirt with me sometimes, and he would make comments about how cute I was. So, I'm glad that he didn't lead me on, but I wish he had told me sooner that he didn't want anything more than friendship because it would have saved me from a lot of pain. It was a rough road, but I slowly began to heal and I eventually found someone new. And now, looking back, I wouldn't trade my experience because it taught me so much about myself and what I want in relationships. I learned that even though I'm an adult now, I can still fall in love like a teenager. I am capable of deep and passionate love, which is an incredible thing. And I also learned that love isn't always enough. Sometimes it's better to walk away from someone you love than to stay in a relationship that isn't right for you. It took a while, but I've come to accept that my first love wasn't meant to be. And I know that if I hadn't confessed my love to him, I would have carried that secret with me forever and I wouldn't have been able to move on. Now, even though I haven't spoken to him in almost 6 years, I still think about him from time to time. And I wonder how he is and what he's doing. But I also know that I am grateful for the time we spent together and for the lessons that I learned along the way. Falling in love with your best friend is like one of the most intense experiences ever. When you have such a strong connection with someone platonically, and then there is this sudden shift, and those feelings intensify, it can be overwhelming and confusing. I remember poring over every text message that we had ever sent each other, trying to find signs that he had felt something for me too. But hindsight is 20/20, and all I can do now is laugh at myself for being so naive. But even though it was painful, it also taught me so much about myself and what I want in a relationship. I learned that it's important to be honest with myself and with the people I care about. And I also learned that love isn't always enough. Sometimes it's better to walk away than to hold on to something that is meant to be. But I will say this, if you're going through something similar to what I did, please know that you're not alone. It's a scary and confusing experience, but it does get easier with time. And if you need someone to talk to, please reach out to a trusted friend or family member or even a therapist. It helps to have someone to lean on during tough times. I also know that it's hard to let go of someone you love, especially when you've been carrying those feelings for a long time. But it's important to remember that you deserve to be happy and in love with someone who loves you back. Don't settle for someone who doesn't see your worth. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like this one where I talk about a time when my boyfriend called me ugly. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.